If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-Pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.
Indianapolis Raceway Park may not be the most notarized, most important, if you will, most widely known racetrack in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, there is a nice little short track out here at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis Raceway Park. It is such a beautiful gem of the Midwest. It has been host to so much NASCAR racing over the years, whether it was in the old Busch Series or the old and new Craftsman Truck Series. Lucas Oil never disappoints, and not to be confused with its dirt counterpart out in I don't know where I was going with that one. Missouri, there we go. Out in Missouri. Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park is the site of this season's D-Line Racing League Championship. Finally, Zach Murtis. Well, first of all, glad to have you back for a second week in a row, finally. Finally, through 12 weeks of racing, we come down here to Indianapolis, Indiana, ready for racing once again. These late models at this racetrack is set to be one heck of a combo. Certainly not one that I would have ever expected initially, but one that I'm certainly ready for this evening as we join you in the iRacing.com sim. This is going to be a fun one. I'm really, really looking forward to this race in particular, as we have got our usual short track program on hand for you with the D-Line Racing League. Here's a look at the track map though, Zach, and there is a rallycross course here, but we're not messing with any of that, just a straight up oval at IRP.
Yeah, no dirt tonight, and I don't think you were looking to say notarized. I think you meant to say notable, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure,
but
yeah.
It's not the most notable track on the NASCAR schedule, but hey, it's hosted, like you said, a lot of NASCAR racing over the years. It's been an amazing facility, really. It hosted SRX this year as well. Actually, no, it didn't host SRX this year. That was I'm confusing the two now.
See, that's what I was saying. Don't get it confused with its dirt counterpart in Missouri, because it is very easy to do, even more easy to do now that the dirt Lucas Oil Speedway is on iRacing, that is out in Missouri. It's very difficult even for myself to get straight, so don't worry. But Lucas Oil Speedway is a dirt track. Lucas Oil Raceway is what this place used to be called. Now Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, IRP, back to its old IRP name. Just a good time to be here, that's for sure. And, oh, well, we should have been in the iRacing.com scene. Now we are. There we go. We can finally show you the track map on screen. But, Zach, I'm very much looking forward to this place. This is such a cool racetrack to go to, especially when points are tight at the top like they are this evening. Admittedly, not as tight as they were a week ago. Zach Shucker pulling away.
Yeah, Shucker's got about a 12-point lead after the incidents we saw last week with Levine having a few struggles, but he's still in striking distance. He can still take the championship away, as can Tim George. And I think, don't quote me on it, I think Sean O'Hara and maybe Brandon Webb still mathematically have a shot at it. But like I said, don't quote me on it.
Brandon's not going to at this point, but he has done a lot of work to get closer. Win last week at New Smyrna certainly helped. I think Sean O'Hara might just be a little too far outside, but definitely David Levine and Tim George still have chances, even if as long shots coming into this evening. We'll take a look at the schedule as well as qualifying happens behind us. The schedule on screen, South Boston kicked us off way back in May. Here we are, Indianapolis, round number 12, August 22nd. So much has happened this season, so much racing, so many different racetracks, a wide variety certainly for this 12-race schedule, and hey, 13 as we go to the All-Star race next week.
Definitely. I think, I don't know, this is just me, but I'm particular to that number 4 race on the schedule, that Phoenix International Raceway.
Well, yeah. That would make sense, considering you did go to Victory Lane, round number 4. So yes, you know what? You're one of 3 Zachs to win this season. 4 total have run races at this point. Zach Stroud not here this evening, but has run races this season. 4 total Zachs have run races, and I think there's 3 that have the same spelling. You, Zach Shucker, and Zach Stroud, I think all have the same spelling. Anyways, qualifying happening in the background. Let's get down to it. Also want to take a look at the weather conditions for this evening's race. 77.3 degrees in the air, 79 on track as qualifying wraps up actually behind us. Tyler Langenberg still on track, actually goes P5. Timothy George back there as well. He will go 6th in qualifying, it looks like, and not the greatest qualifying so far for the Double O, but certainly some work to do in our first race on the evening. Of course, we'll take a look at that race format our Whiplash SimCams race details. A 30-lap heat race, technically, for race number 1, and then a 50-lap feature race, technically, for race number 2. Gives us 80 total laps of racing with that 6-car invert in between.
And Brandon Webb wasting no time after winning last week in the feature event in race number 2. He's up on the top of the speed charts, about 0.18 of a second over Zach Lindgren, as you see Kevin O'Hara heading on track. He's about to make his laps. And actually, Kevin O'Hara, I believe, is the last car to go out to make laps. So once he qualifies, that will be your starting lineup as he rounds turn number 4, about to take the green flag.
Actually, he's already gone through his laps. So, yeah, I think that actually rounds out. I think he was on an out lap technically, and qualifying should tick on down here in the last few seconds, but that's going to be all she wrote for qualifying for the field this evening. Interesting how, I guess Kevin wasn't able to get any clean laps, and the wall does jump out at you here at IRP, that's for sure. It's definitely especially difficult on corner exit when you're trying to maximize speed, trying to carry all the speed you can around this place, and you just kind of walk out there a little too much and just tag the wall at the right rear, or even if you're just trying to walk the car up the racetrack a little bit, since it is left-hand bias, if you're trying to walk it up towards the wall and just get a good arc into the corner, that happens sometimes too. It's rare, but it happens for sure. I've done it a million times.
Yeah, I don't have the best track record at this track either, so...
Yeah, that's right. You did run UFL, what, 2 weeks ago, and it didn't go too well.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, well, we're getting you back on track here shortly after a week off, but hey, we've got cars on the racetrack ready to go racing this evening, 13 strong for our first race on the evening. Let's take a look at our full starting grid out there on position, well, in position 1 on row number 1, Brandon Webb on the inside. These two picking up right where they left off at New Smyrna. Brandon Webb won race number 2. There we go. Won race number 2 last week, and Zach Lindgren won race number 1 last week. So these two are arguably already the strongest in the series as we currently speak. Currently atop the power rankings, or whatever you might want to call it. Our most recent winners on the front row in qualifying, right where you might expect them. Meanwhile, starting from 3rd, somebody who's still searching for a race win, it's Brian Miller in car 26. Zach Shucker, our points leader and likely champion to be, will start from 4th. Starting 5th, that's Tyler Langenberg out of Florida in the 91 car. Excuse me, I knew I would need to cough early. Tim George will roll off from the 6th spot. Then you find David Levine back there in 7th, Spiro Poulos in 8th. A very special paint scheme there on the 59. We'll talk about that more later. And your top 10 will round out with Joey Tackett now in the top 10 in points, and Scott Myers.
Yeah, just only a few more cars left on the racetrack. Jack Gunset and Michael Melvin in the 73 and the 36 starting 11th and 12th. And then your last car to turn a qualifying lap, Kevin O'Hara. It shows Kyle Turzak in 13th, but he is unfortunately not in the session tonight. And Andrew, that's our 13-car field. It's a bit of a short one, but definitely no stranger to having some great battles on track, as these guys are gonna, I believe, get the one-to-go signal right here.
Well, you mentioned the Superstar Racing experience. They had great racing all season long, and they have now for 3 seasons with 12 cars on the track each week. So can it be done? Yes. Will it be done this evening? Yes. 13 cars, going to have some great racing through the course of 80 laps of racing all told, as we get ready to let these guys go back at it. We'll take one more look at your Whiplash SimCams race details and remind you that we don't expect too many visits to the Elevated Performance pit lane, but we will recap them if we get them. And of course, award the Elevated Performance pit stop of the race to retire stop. Had to get that cough out, but we're coming to green. Been a rough week, I'll tell you what, but Brandon Webb is going to lead us to the green flag this evening. It's the final race of the DLine Racing League, brought to you by Elevated Performance, and we are green. One lap complete on the inside. That is Zach Lindgren picking up where he left off. Like I say, he won the heat race last week, was quick on the short run, trying to do so again this evening, right down to the inside of Brandon Webb as they fight for 3rd behind.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers getting really, really loose off of the corner exits, off of 2 and off of 4. It's just It's so easy to get the power down and get really, really skidded coming off the corner. I think I saw Levine get a little bit loose there coming off the floor. But Lindgren and Webb still side by side. And Lindgren, even though being all the way on the bottom the entire time, just went purple that time by. And they are still side by side. The nose to Lindgren going into turn number 3.
Lindgren powering ahead ever so slightly. Webb up top might get cleared here soon as the 85 is just quicker down low. It is a shorter radius. That's why he's going faster right now in the 85 car. But how long can he maintain that as Shucker goes fastest right behind him?
Yeah, Brandon Webb got really, really loose coming off of turn number 4 there. I kind of jumped on the gun a little bit. I saw his right rear almost tap the outside wall. No damage, but he's looking like he's going to get back in front. You see Lindgren just trying to keep it down there, but it doesn't look like he's going to fall back in line. Brandon Webb is going to clear and be the sole survivor out in front and go purple that time by.
How fitting. Takes the race lead, goes purple right there. Driving away from the field now as, one car gets the wall down the backstretch. That was Michael Melvin paying a visit to the concrete wall. A couple of championship competitors back here in 5th and 6th. Zach, Tim George in 5th, David Levine in 6th, and Levine running a special Lightning McQueen paint scheme for a special viewer out there, Andrew Cardinale the 5th. Watching along, and I'm sure very excited to see his favorite Cars character on screen currently.
Absolutely, he was doing a little Tokyo Drift and in the practice session, just having a little fun with it, because that's the team story, having a little bit of fun. But something that's not so fun is how far back he is when it comes to the points lead, and he needs to get in front of Tim George and Brian Miller to get as many points as he can. Don't even worry about that invert tonight. Just maximize points. Track position will come. But
I know you're saying don't worry about the invert, but he is currently in that invert spot of 6, so that could really help him for the future where most of your points come from as a driver. That said, I don't know if it'll be enough.
Yeah, maximize the points. That's all I can say. Finish in front of these two and get the points on them going in. You're going to end up starting behind them, but hey, at the end of the day, you're still getting more points. There's one car down on the inside wall. That's Myers in the 46. Looks like he's got it back going, though.
Yeah, Scott Myers, a quick issue there in the 46 car. We'll take a look back at it. This is a lap prior. Scott's been a great part, a great addition to this series. Glad to have had him, I think, for every single race, but like 1 or 2, maybe, that he's missed. And I haven't even been here for every race. I'm not honestly that sure, but certainly has improved this season. Spiro Poulos just behind. We'll take a look at it here. Car 46, Scott Myers out of turn 2. It's a rare issue for this car to get loose like that.
I think it was because he had those right side tires right there on the seam. It just kind of got loose, and once you get the power down and it's not where it needs to be, it steps out.
Up front, 20 laps to go, 10 complete in race number 1. A bit of a longer race. These guys are running 22-second lap times, right about where you'd be running if we were at a place like USA. Bit of a longer track, makes sense.
There's the move. Lindgren to the inside on Brandon Webb. He's going to stay at the quarter panel, not really going to get anything off the corner. Shucker is trying to close that gap. No can do. Brandon Webb continues to hold on to that lead, and Lindgren is still sitting in the tire tracks waiting to see if he can make something happen. Got to fight for 4th as well.
Brian Miller defending over Tim George. George 16 points back coming into this race and beginning the night off, and certainly looks decent. I wouldn't say strong yet, and he's been so strong this season. I think that's why. This is still a little behind where we've come to expect the 26, the 00 car, as the 26 rides ahead of him. Brian Miller, by the way, I don't know if he got a new wheel, new rig, or what's gone on, but completely changing the script for the 26 car, flipping the script, if you will. Brian Miller, so much better these last 2 weeks at New Smyrna in IRP. Really looking like a top competitor here in the DLine Racing League. This season, he had a few struggles to get things going the first few races. I recall Southern National, he was quick, but had some issues. Tonight, completely different story, looking great in 4th place as we take a look at our top 3, running 1st, 2nd, 3rd, of course. Brandon Webb, Zach Lindgren, Zach Shucker.
Shucker has really closed that gap and pulled Lindgren in just a little bit as he's been working on Brandon Webb. The fighting has definitely helped to reel in that gap, and riding on board here with Lindgren coming off of turn number 4. He's still poking that nose down low. Can't get there just yet as we reach the halfway mark in race number 1. And he's still just trying to do whatever he can to get around.
Almost to the inside there, Brandon Webb through turn 2. You mentioned halfway through race number 1, halfway down, halfway to go. Cross flags last time. Oh, in the wall, Tim George, double O-car.
Yeah, it's going to cost him just a little bit of time on corner exit. See Lindgren here trying again. He's doing everything he can to make that bottom line work. This is one track where you can really try to abuse that right front tire. I know they made a few changes to the late model stock car to get it to drive a little bit more similar than it does in real life, and still no gains for Zach Lindgren. He might look for a dive bomb here though. He's way down on the bottom, side by side at the number. Not going to make anything happen off of turn 2. Slides back in.
You know, if you rewind to New Hampshire, Zach was way too nice with the Zach Shucker, I feel like, at the end of that race. Could have had a big-time win for him at the end of 75 green flag laps. And, you know, it was just a missed opportunity. I think Zach kind of just tried to play the nice guy and, you know, passed up on that chance to go down to the inside. And I think he's been kicking himself since, got a little more aggressive with these races, driving a little bit harder. It's good to see him try to take a couple of chances. Not push anything yet. He's not taking any crazy chances, but he's taking chances looking at the inside.
Yeah, he's trying to find any way around it. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be super aggressive and, you know, use the bumper or anything, but look at him. He's going to go all the way down to the flat. See if he can get any run off, drive it off straight, but Brandon Webb drives it away. Now trying all the way up on the wall. Wherever that grip is, you got to go for it. You got to find whatever speed you can. See just a small run coming off corner exit coming on the top, but he's still just losing ground right now to Brandon Webb. Zach Shucker is reeling him in with 10 to go.
The elevated performance pit lane has been empty so far this evening, but in race number 2 on the evening, if we get any mid-race cautions, I think certainly it's going to be important. Keep that in mind. These tires get worn out in these longer races, so this 30-lap race, not too crazy on tires, not too much of a concern, but when we go racing for 50 here in a bit, just might need to go get yourself a new set of 4 tires, maybe 2 tires even for some drivers. The elevated performance pit lane will be that much more important as this race goes on, this evening goes on, I should say, as we continue to watch this fight out front of the field. That said, Zach, one important driver to keep note of, David Levine, 6th place, comes into tonight only 12 points back of Zach Shucker. But I will say, you know, I've been kind of open. I was in the hospital a couple of weeks ago, right now going through bronchitis. This guy's really gone through it lately as well. Just got out of the hospital a couple of days ago, and we're so glad, so thankful that David is doing well, at least well enough to go home and get back behind the wheel with us this evening. That's not easy, and that weighs on you. That's, excuse me, see, there's the bronchitis. That's difficult to do, to be in the hospital like that one day, racing with your friends the next. That's not easy, especially when you're going through it quite as seriously as he is. It was a serious deal, and thankfully he's got a lot of family around him that kind of came together and helped him through it. And you know, he's doing everything he can to get better. Just glad to have David here with us.
Absolutely. It's always a struggle sometimes when, you know, things just don't happen the way you want them to, but I'm glad to see David here on the racetrack tonight, even if it's just virtually. Just hanging with us, having a good time, and, you know, hoping to have a shot at a championship tonight. He still sits in the invert spot with about 5 laps to go this time, and as long as he can hold on to it and get some serious points in the next race, he's looking good to be able to try and take the championship, as Lindgren is trying again. He is not giving up on that bottom. Bless his heart. It has not worked out for him so far, but he's still going after it, taking a little nod from Steve Post there for a second, but still just trying, doing everything he can.
There we go. That was a good run.
Here. That was a really good run. He's going to stay side by side down the front straightaway. 4 laps to go.
I wonder if as these tires wear and the car frees up a little bit, they can just lay in the throttle and try to use that to their advantage. Let the car get free. Let it rotate. That's good.
Yeah, he's still staying on the bottom, still side by side. He's able to get that run through the center. You can see it right there, but Brandon Webb is coming back on corner exit. Give the nose to Lindgren off the corner, but the lap led to Brandon Webb as we have 3 laps to go.
3 to go in race 1. The HMS Motorsport Elite Motorsports. Number 85 Ford Mustang on the inside, racing with Brandon Webb and the Davey Allison Ford Mustang on the outside. Lindgren that time through the center of the corner, coming to 2 to go. He's faster, has got the race lead across the stripe. 2 laps to go in race 1.
Only by 7/1000ths of a second when they crossed the line. Still trying to hang on to that bottom, but Brandon Webb saying, no thank you, sir. I'm going to come around on the outside. Give the nose to Brandon Webb going into turn 1. We're coming around to take 1 to go.
White flag this time by. There's also a fight for 6th. Langenberg trying to take it away from Levine. We can take a look briefly at that as Levine's on the outside, Langenberg inside, 1 lap to go. White flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. It's a race for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Lindgren goes on through. Here comes Shucker on Webb, this for 2nd, an important spot as well. And it's going to stay in the hands of Brandon Webb as we come around to take checkered flag in race number 1 on the evening. It goes to Zach Lindgren. Tim George goes 5th, and across the line, it's a crash for David Levine, who will miss the invert. Langenberg takes it.
Yeah, he tried to get him there at the end. A little bit of shades of Ryan Newman, really, 2014 at Phoenix, but did not work out in the same favor as it did for Ryan Newman that time. But unfortunate for David Levine. One heck of a race for Zach Lindgren.
Let's see if we can take a look back at that incident between the 59 and 91. I think this is maybe the lap prior. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, this should be coming to the white flag right here.
Yeah, that was white flag across the stripe. Contact there in 1. That really helped Langenberg big time, but David crossed him back up. This is now white flag. And this is for the invert spot for 6th, and this is really big for the championship. This puts David way behind the mark. David tries to run him up the racetrack. Langenberg stays in the throttle, and they kind of door bang some more, and there goes David to the inside.
Yeah, just an unfortunate circumstance. Langenberg just got into the corner too hot, forced David up the track, and he could have come up just a little bit more coming off turn number 2 to keep himself side by side here. There you see the contact. This is coming to checkers. Comes up the racetrack, trying. There it is. Damage is definitely minimized, but I mean, this checkered flag, you're going to have a hard reset after the warm-up, and that is certainly not what David wanted going into the final race of the night.
Not at all, but hey, it's another race win for the 85 car, Zach Lindgren, as he takes top honors in race number 1 yet again. And you know what, Zach? It's a big race win for the 85, a big important one, especially for some points in the midfield. How about 2 Zachs discuss a race win?
Yeah, it's the Zach and Zach show on Pit Stop TV as Lindgren pulls off another one. Bit of a hat trick from last week. Just, Zach, kind of tell us how things went for you there. You're hanging tough on the inside, and it finally worked out for you.
Yeah, the beginning parts of the run, the car was very, very even. Should you be on the top or the bottom? And right there, as the run went on, I felt like I was getting good runs on him on the bottom. I just really couldn't mount anything. In the last 5 laps, I said a word I can't say on broadcast. I'm gonna throw caution to the wind, and we started sending it as hard as I could into turn or on the bottom there. And with that little bit of embankment there, it started to rotate the car, and I was like, well, I found something. So we.
As long as you weren't asking for 4 fresh Desert Eagles, Zach.
That was the goal, to not ask for that.
I let you get through New Smyrna last week without saying anything about it. I wanted to give you a week at New Smyrna where I didn't say anything. I couldn't wait. I couldn't keep it going.
I wanted to combine mine and Brandon's there for a little bit. You know, we were door checking each other just a bit. We're gonna make 8 of them, not just 4. So
8 fresh Desert Eagles. That's wow.
Well, 8 fresh of them.
Hey, well, it hung on for you. You're able to get it across the line, P1, and you're gonna be starting 6th, but let's just make sure we don't go backwards like we did last week, okay?
Yeah, last week was a bit difficult. So this week, if we can go forward from 6th, I feel like that would be a win in of itself.
Yeah, let's go sweep the rounds. A race win in 1 and a race win in 2, and well, you're looking solid right now. That car was sitting fast and sitting pretty on the bottom, and you were starting to rotate a lot better through the center than Brandon Webb was on the top. And I mean, hey, you still got a long race ahead of you, so good luck to you, and hopefully you're able to do 2 for 2 tonight.
Appreciate it, buddy. I thank you. I hope we're able to. I think we're able to. It's just a matter of positioning and letting the race play out. If we don't get any cautions like we didn't get in the first race, I think we got a good chance. But if cautions start to run it, then we got to kind of switch up our mentality.
Well, if you don't win it, the next time I see an official race, I'm wrecking you. So
that's
have
fair.
fun with
That's
that.
fair.
Hey, as long as we stop at 8 fresh as your Eagles, though, Zach, because 12 is illegal in some states.
Oh, well, true. Well, we almost had 12 there on the final lap, or with 2 laps to go, we almost had 12.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of fun to watch you out there and get race 1. I would have talked to you a whole lot more, but I'm a bit like your run last week where I was just choking in the second half.
Had us in the first half, not gonna lie. Well, hopefully in the second half, I don't choke it away. So yeah, that's the hope.
Well, that's Zach Lindgren, race number 1 winner this evening at IRP, and I will say that's about the only driver, Zach, that I would ever say that kind of line to. There is nobody else I think I could get away with that one. I lived with the guy for a couple of years, for gosh sakes. There's probably nobody else I could get. And you know what? If his mom Sarah was around, she probably would have just patted me on the back for that one too. At least I would hope. That, or she would have hit me just like she would have hit him. I don't know, but love Zach Lindgren. Glad to have him here in the DLine Racing League. And you know what? Once again, I'm just going to state my appreciation for this league in general, where we can kind of take the professional hat off for almost a half second and have those fun moments, because that's rare.
Yeah, I mean, it's what kind of sport would we be, whether it be real racing or sim racing, if we couldn't just have a little bit of fun every now and again?
Man. Well, it certainly helps when, I tell you what, if there's anybody here this evening that is doing the most work, I think it's you, by the way. The fact that you've got to listen to me choke and hack and cough up 3 lungs at once over here, and keep talking. I don't know how you do it, but props to you. Anyway, we've got a grid coming up ready for you once again. Elevated Performance has put together one heck of a season for us. It's not over just yet. We've got one more race to go. And through that battle with David Levine, Tyler Langenberg has very importantly put himself on pole for this second race on the evening. Race number 2, leading us to the green, car 91 out of Florida, Flash Hole himself, Tyler Langenberg. From pole in that Mini Cooper. 4 cylinders beats 8 any day sometime. Well, no, it really doesn't. Anyways, he rolls off from pole position. Timothy George will roll off from second, needing a lot of points in the championship fight. Starting 3rd and 4th, it's Brian Miller and Zach Shucker. Shucker likely on his way to a championship. Brandon Webb will roll off from the 5th spot. Zach Lindgren from 6th. These two, of course, just raced it out for the win in race number 1. Then there's Lightning McQueen back here in position number 7. David Levine, a lot of work to do in race number 2 if he wants to win this championship. He'll start alongside Joey Tackett, as the back row of the top 10 is Michael Melvin and Spiro Poulos.
Yeah, rolling on down, 11th and 12th on the grid. The last 2 of your 3 final cars. Jack Gunset and Kevin O'Hara, 11th and 12th. And then rounding out the field, Scott Myers in the 46th after his little bit of an incident he had on the backstretch, but he's got it back going now. Car's all clean, everything's fixed. Now he's just looking to be able to take this win away, and as is anybody tonight, you've got a stacked field, Andrew. It's been a heck of a season so far. You said earlier it's the final race, but I mean, we still got an all-star race to go through next week, and these guys are just they're having so much fun. It's the last race in terms of a championship, but we still got one more race coming up next week, and hopefully I get the chance to compete, because I was able to sit in and have a fun race with these guys, and I'd love to get a chance to race with them again. But Andrew, I think the season has been so far a great one, and these guys are getting ready to go back green as the pace car takes that hard left turn on the pit road.
You see all 13 cars lined up. It was a great first race on the evening. Let's try and follow that up with one more into the restart zone. Waiting on the green flag high above the speedway. Langenberg in first, George in second. Green flag in race 2, the final race on the season for points. Contact there for first and second. Down to the inside was Brian Miller for a brief moment. And away goes the double O, trying to pull away. That's Tim George with the race lead after 1 lap.
Yeah, Tim George is looking to take as many championship points as he can now. He's got 2 cars between him and Shucker, so that should help him with his points total. He did finish in front of David Levine as well, so I think, don't quote me on it, he might jump him as we see these guys fighting it out for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Brian Miller on the inside of Zach Shucker and Brandon Webb, but it looks like that outside line's going to power.
Whoa, crashing! First big crash of the evening. There go the 51 and the 3 cars, and it's going to wad up a few more. Joey Tackett back up into the field. Caution number 1 on the evening. A caution-free race 1, not so much in race number 2, lap 3, and we found ourselves a reason to stop. And, well, unfortunately, the 3-car Tackett in a lot of trouble there as we were just getting going.
I saw him get airborne coming off turn 4. And this is T1 car in the back there. That's Jack Gunset, I believe.
This is the lap prior. And this is where Tackett actually got the wall. And we caught it briefly from our static camera. But watch that black number 3 on the top of the racetrack racing with the Wrangler 51 on the inside. Poulos throws it into 3. Just about has the spot, and then everything goes out the hand basket, if you will, right there. Hooked up the racetrack as Poulos, he backs it up to Tackett. Tackett lets it go up the racetrack in front of Kevin O'Hara. And guys, if you ever hear the term, hold your brakes, that is what you're talking about right there. You've got to hold your brakes when you spin around, and it's tough, but it's moments like those that matter.
Now, some may think, well, the car was moving forward to begin with. Shouldn't the tires be spinning forward? No. That's not how, well, the laws of motion work. So, I mean, you can see it right here. There is Spiro Poulos on the inside. He's just a little bit loose, and he comes up the racetrack. He probably thought he was clear, but he wasn't. Gets airborne, and then, yeah, hold your brake. That's all I can say there. Oh. Well, thank you for damage healing. And now we get to see these guys go down pit road. I wonder if anybody's going to take 4 tires.
We did have 1 4-tire stop. I think he's going for the award here early. It's David Levine, Lightning McQueen, rather. The 59 car taking that pit stop very early and grabbing some tires. You can see the pit timer, 21.33. That indicates a 4-tire stop in fuel usually. So for now, we might have to review it later, but for now, he is the award winner of our Elite Performance Industry, or not. I'm used to saying that on Mondays. Our Elevator Performance pit stop of the race. There we go. On the Elevator Performance pit lane. To rise, you must elevate. Let's see who rises here on this restart. Green flag back in the air. Lap 7 underway. A bit of a separation in the field, slower cars in the back. 3 wide now in front of David Levine way back here, and this is a lot to contend with. O'Hara on the inside. Levine's trying to go around the outside.
Yeah, Kevin O'Hara made a little bit of contact there with Joey Tackett, and Levine is going to say, hello, thank you very much, and take advantage of those positions. Scott Myers has moved up quite a bit as well, fighting with Spiro Poulos. Look at Levine. Oh, my goodness, so loose.
That seam around the bottom is really, really treacherous, it seems. Pun not intended, actually. But yeah, it can really hook a car around. It's like the apron at New Hampshire or Phoenix. It seems like it's great for de-wedging the car and getting it to rotate quickly.
Yeah, it definitely helps to get the car to rotate, but it definitely makes it very, very loose. And he's trying all he can to get around Spiro Poulos and Scott Myers at the moment, who are also in the midst of battling behind Gunset right in front of them. So not too many places for Levine to go at the moment as the leaders are starting to check out on him.
Scott Myers checking up in the middle. Yeah, Levine just trying to get through. There we go. Big move down to the inside of the racetrack. Got to take a 3 for 1 in one lap if he can make it work. Way down on the inside. Myers loose behind him. Maybe, yes, spinning into the inside wall and stopping now on the racetrack. The leaders were to turns 1 and 2. Myers will get back going. Levine now in trouble. No caution.
This is not good for Levine.
No, this is everything unraveling for him. The whole championship right now out the window as Tim George leads. And hey, Zach, I don't know how the points work out exactly, but Shucker's back here in 5th. That's also something he can't have happen.
Tim George gets too far out in front. That's detrimental to Shucker. He's got to be able to take advantage of what he has now, which is really being one of the fastest cars on the track. You've got Tim George, Brandon Webb, and Zach Lindgren, who have both made their way up to the front, and they were guys that were contending hardcore with Shucker. So he needs to make moves, and he needs to make them now, or this championship might go out the window for him as well. Brian Miller right behind him, he might be able to still have a stab at it as well.
On board with the 48 car, Zach Shucker behind the wheel. A great looking throwback to his late grandfather. That was a big impact on this season. He's got an extra little something to race for, and boy has he this season. He has been lights out every single week. Certainly the best driver we've had this season. He's showing it here to the inside of Langenberg, looking for fourth. There have been a couple of chinks in the armor, though. This may be one of them here at IRP, just struggling ever so slightly, and it's his home race, Zach. If anything, this is the one race where he wants to go out there and put the rest of these drivers to bed, beat them all by seconds, if not more. This is the one race that probably matters the most to him, and he's struggling a little bit back here in the 5th spot.
Yeah, he's got to be able to make something happen now. If he loses too many spots, like I said, it's just going to be lights out for him. I hope that he's able to get things moving in a good direction here, but if, I don't know, Andrew, if Shucker can't move forward, it might be over for him as Tim George is expanding his lead over Brandon Webb, and here's another look to the inside of Langenberg. Still not really going to be able to make anything happen. That corner exit up on the top is just so powerful. Oh my goodness, that was close.
The 91 unwavering. That Mini Cooper wants to stay ahead of the 48 car and get all the points he can for his own season. While now Lindgren and Webb go at it once again. We know how this story ends, don't we? Race 1, Lindgren went by on the bottom side. Will it go the same way? Time will tell, but it's looking like a wash, rinse, repeat kind of situation as they continue to fight for 4th and 5th. Further back, a fight between Tackett and Gunsit sets the stage for 9th and 10th. O'Hara in 11th, only 4 seconds ahead of David Levine, who's on now spun out tires, but newer tires than the rest of the field, trying to work his way back through. There's still a chance if he gets a caution. If he gets a caution, he's back in this race. Might be able to pull some track position since he has pitted. But it's certainly time, I would say, to panic at this point. Coming to 30 to go in a moment, and he is way behind the race leaders.
It's still very much possible that he's able to take this win away, but I'm not too sure, Andrew. I'm not too sure.
He would need a caution, a big one.
He would absolutely need a caution. You know, Levine has shown a lot of good speed, and he's been able to contend with these guys up front. As you can see him coming around here on the front straightaway, but look at this. Look at how far spread out these leaders are right now. Tim George has a pretty commanding lead over what is 2nd and 3rd, and if they keep fighting like this, contact! Lindgren, Webb, oh my goodness.
30 to go, that time by, and the Elite Motorsports 85 on the inside. Took a shot there at Brandon Webb. He wants to go back by that 20 car, and now there's extra motivation to do so. As if the race win wasn't enough in race 1, now there's an extra car out there to go chase for another race win. Lindgren door tapping the 20 car that time at a turn 4. A little bit of contact, never hurt nobody. And that time, Webb, way up the racetrack, might have given it to him. Now a crossover down the backstretch.
Yeah, not the only ones making contact, though. Shucker and Langenberg are making contact right behind them, as they have pulled in Brian Miller to try and contend for these spots. And this was about the same time that Lindgren was able to pass Brandon Webb in the first race. So, Andrew, do we think here that maybe some of these drivers are driving these cars in a way that is abusing the tires too much, because now Lindgren is starting to pull away from Brandon Webb?
Absolutely. We talked about it earlier, that elevated performance pit lane going to be a bit more important here in race number 2. Of course, it's out the window in race 1. 30 laps is just too short, even with cautions. But throw in those extra 20, especially in a green flag situation like we've got this evening. And if we get a yellow, tires are going to be oh so important for these drivers to get back up on the wheel and get after it here in the later stages. The only thing they need is that caution. As up front, things are tightening up, and one car is in the pit lane under green. It's Michael Melvin in the 36.
I'm not too sure why he would take to the pit road under the green flag. He's going to lose maybe a lap or 2 here, depending on if he takes 4 tires or not. But hey, we've got another challenger for the elevated performance
Pit stop of the race.
Road. There you go. Looks like he's taking rights. Might just be right. No.
This is not a bad move if we get a caution. He's going to have better tires than David. And usually this league does everything to get lap down cars back on the lead lap. This is not a terrible move, actually. It's going to work out terribly for now. Only because he's, of course, laps down under green. But he only lost one lap, Zach. He'd be the lucky dog currently if Scott Myers can just hang on to the lead lap. Not a terrible move.
And he had a faster pit stop than David Levine.
That he did. Pit stop of the race so far. The elevated performance pit stop of the race for Michael Melvin in the 36 car.
Yeah, so he's looking good for that award tonight, but definitely not looking good for being on the lead lap. 13th now, 1 lap down, but that's a free position for all these cars behind him. David Levine, Scott Myers, they're able to move up. Kevin O'Hara, Jack Gunset, they're definitely moving up, but Andrew...
He's counting on a caution between these guys right here.
I'm sure, but one person he can count on a caution for as well with is Zach Lindgren, who has pulled that 0.6 of a second lead that Tim George had over him to about 2.5 tenths, and they are rolling up on Michael Melvin to put him 2 laps down.
Still a bit of space there between the 36 and our race leaders. But you're right, Tim George has given up a lot of time lately. Usually somebody who's great on old tires. This evening getting run down by somebody who simply has got a much higher I rating. I rating doesn't tell the entire story, Zach. But here, maybe it's a piece of the puzzle. The I rating for your race leader is 679. The I rating for second place, 5,278. And of course, Tim doesn't run many official oval races, but that's still a large number difference that you have to keep in mind here, take in mind, especially when Lindgren went and ran him down like this.
Yeah, he's closed that gap a ton. He's got Michael Melvin right in front of him, Scott Myers in front of him, and Michael Melvin's doing everything he can to not go another lap down, especially since they're getting ready to lap Scott Myers. So if that caution is going to come out, if you're Michael Melvin, you want it to come out right now. And I don't mean in a lap or two, I mean right now, because these leaders are coming and they're coming fast.
And Lindgren, I think, is seeing the situation unfold ahead, leaning back a little bit, doesn't want to be side by side when they catch this lap traffic, wants to maybe use this lap traffic as a pick or just try to get through it in general. No reason to be side by side right now. That's only going to slow yourself down and let Brandon Webb catch up. Let's let the race leader get up there. If you're Zach here, let Tim get up there and deal with this on his own. Maybe you can use Scott Myers or Michael Melvin as a pick, but right now don't slow yourself down any more than you need to.
Absolutely. Do whatever you can to minimize the wear and the tires too much. And Brandon Webb has fallen quite a considerable ways back from these two. And
here we go.
It's 2-horse race, and there they go, lapping Scott Myers right now. Michael Melvin has already passed him. Tim George trying to use Scott Myers as a bit of a pick to gain a bit of an advantage here. Lindgren's going to catch him on exit. That's going to allow Tim George to pull away a little bit more. But they're still right back to it, single file, as Michael Melvin's the next car up on the road.
Watching these guys continue to go after it. It'll be 15 laps to go this time by. They've gone on by the 46 car. By the way, there has been a position change in the back. David Levine has gone by Kevin O'Hara, has set his sights now on Jack Gunset. It's drops in the bucket at this point, unless we get a caution, but it is fewer cars that Levine would have to pass in a short run scenario if they were to stay out in front of him. Levine trying to go by the 73 car this time by into turn 1, should be able to do so. Much better tires on that Lightning McQueen Rusty's medicated bumper ointment Chevrolet.
Chevy?
He is. Listen to the song.
Well, in any case, Zach Shucker has gotten by Tyler Langenberg.
Oh! Brian Miller nearly got Langenberg that time, as yes, you're right, Shucker's gone on by for 4th. Now looking for 3rd here on Brandon Webb.
He's got to get these positions. He cannot afford to lose any more points. We will have, hopefully, an update on the points at the end of the race. But if I were Shucker, I'd get any points we can. And oh, so close between him and Brandon Webb as they go into turn number 3. Look at that drive through 3 and 4. Not going to have the nose just yet, but they are going to stay side by side down the front stretch.
Still working after it. Car 48 on the inside, and he's finally going to get by the 20 car.
Here comes Langenberg, though, looking down on the bottom of Brandon Webb. And
yeah, Webb just burned his stuff off way early, and he has been so committed to the outside. He hasn't tried the inside really at all. I think that's hurting him big time as this race continues to wear on. And now Langenberg backing up to Miller a little bit. They might not be done.
Yeah, if anything, Lindgren might have burned off his tires as well. He's back to half a second behind Tim George. But Zach Shucker moved into the 3rd spot. I want to say that that's going to put him in position to hold on to that championship, but don't put it past you just yet, because these guys are still fighting it out real hard. There could still be a chance for a caution.
I do think the championship is relatively decided right now. We're going to wait post-race for confirmation, but I do think it's relatively decided. 3rd place after, I think it was a 3rd place run in race 1 as well. So 2 3rd place runs for Zach Shucker. He beat Tim George in the first race and David Levine. I do think it's just about confirmed, but we don't know for sure until this race is over, until the points are tallied up. And still, positions are changing behind these guys as well. There's a lot going on around this racetrack. There's Webb losing another spot to Langenberg. Miller trying to go by as well. And while it's all but decided that David Levine won't win the championship, Tim George has still got a great chance. He's out leading the race right now, trying to pull back away from Zach Lindgren, but it is back down inside of 3/10.
Yeah, he's rolling that bottom, trying to do anything he can. Coming up on 7 laps to go, about 4/10 between the two of them going into turn number 1. There is some lap traffic ahead, I believe. That is Jack Gunset.
It is, and Lindgren got way tight that time out of the corner. It's not often you hear him completely jump out of the throttle that late in the corner. That time was big. He really had to jump out of the gas.
I'm sorry, Andrew, but I think he's used up his stuff.
Yep.
I think it's all gone.
Let's go in the helmet here. Driver's eye view. I love this camera a bunch. He's leaning on that apron too much. He's down on the flat, and at this point in the race, the tires are so hot and greasy, so worn out. Being down on the flat with all 4 tires is not going to help you. He finds a seam there, and it helped him a little bit, but I think he's got to search around the racetrack a little more.
Yeah, maybe try the high line a little bit to see what Jordan's doing up there, and find whatever speed you can. Just look for it wherever you can and try to find it. As we got moves a little bit further on back in the pack.
If we get a caution. If we get a caution, this is not over. 3 green-white checkered attempts in the bank if we need them. It's not over until it's over, ladies and gents. Until that white flag is out, this race is not official.
Brian Miller and Tyler Langenberg almost made a little bit of contact there as they roll up on Scott Myers, who is already a lap down. Jack Gunset now a lap down as well. Next car to go a lap down, David Levine. As Kevin O'Hara is now on pit road.
O'Hara takes to the elevated performance pit lane and drops into the last position now as Michael Melvin goes by the 29 car. 2 laps to go, this time by for your race leader. I think it's too little too late for the 00. I think it drops in the bucket for him as well. But a race win to close the season out would be a huge, huge point to hang his hat on and go into the All-Star race at Nashville with an extra bit of confidence and try to win the biggest race of bragging rights in the entire series. This time by at a turn number 4, the white flag will fly. 1 lap to go in the DLine Racing League. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. And I don't think it's going to change anything in the championship. I think Zach is going to win it. But Tim George is going to win the final race on the season. We'll wait for an official tally when it's all said and done. But out of turn number 4, checkered flag for Tim George in the double lot. Zach Lindgren 2nd, Zach Shucker 3rd. Fireworks in the distance. That is a wrap, Zach Murtis. That is a season in the books.
Yeah, one heck of a season it's been as the rest of the drivers come across the line. And I think you're right, Andrew. I think Zach Shucker is going to be your champion tonight. Tim George did everything right, did everything he needed to do, just wasn't able to capitalize completely. And heartbreak, I will say, for David Levine, who poured his heart and soul into tonight. He was not really feeling the best coming into this race, and I think the racecraft kind of showed it a little bit, but he was out here doing what he needed to do to try and get the championship, but just fell a little bit too short as Tim George is going to burn it down for us tonight.
Donuts on the front stretch, they're shared. All donuts are best shared, as Zach Shucker, absolutely, me too. Zach Shucker burning it down on the front stretch. I had to go through that one a couple times. I kept wanting to say Zach Murtis champion, but he did get a race win. I'll acknowledge it one more time as the season comes to a close. Tim George, burnouts down the front stretch into turn number 4. But here you go. I do believe your champion, Zach Shucker, for one final time, doing some burnouts before this season comes to an official close. It's all still unofficial. We don't know exactly how it's going to work out. But a whole lot more points put together for that 48 camp. I think he's got it.
Yeah, I definitely think he's got this one already well and locked up, and I don't see anybody really taking it away from him. He had a pretty good gap going into tonight. He finished in front of everybody he needed to in race number 1 and then race number 2. The only person that really had a shot at him was Tim George, and he was still at least 16 points behind him in race number 1.
50 laps out of 50 laps led for Tim George here in race number 2. A really strong win for him. It can't be understated. 2 really strong drivers capping off seasons, very strong seasons, honestly, for both of them. I think the 2 strongest drivers in the field all season long, and certainly deserve to be doing burnouts here in the final round of the season. We're still awaiting confirmation, but Zach, let's run through your unofficial race results this evening. Tim George with the win. Oh, so important that he does so. It at least helps his chances. Zach Lindgren goes second. Zach Shucker third. Your top 5 is completed by the 26 of Miller and the 91 of Langenberg.
Yeah, just unfortunate for a lot of these guys tonight. Brandon Webb, who was very, very strong, burned up his stuff a little too quickly, and Spiro Poulos rounding out in the 7th position, and it's Joey Tackett and David Levine. Unfortunately, Guido was not here to help Lightning McQueen get that fastest stop tonight. That was taken away by, I believe, it was not Jack Gunset, who does
Michael Melvin.
His first car. There you go, Michael Melvin. Jack Gunset does finish 10th, though. First car, 1 lap down. Then the last 3 cars on the field, I believe, Scott Myers, Kevin O'Hara, and Scott Myers, Michael Melvin, Kevin O'Hara. That's your final 3 finishers of the night. Michael Melvin obviously taking the spoils there for the fastest pit stop of the night.
Well, while we wait on official confirmation, we can at least bring in the one driver out of the top 3 that is not for the championship. Zach Lindgren, we talked about to race 1. Zach, here he is.
I get to wreck you in an official race the next time I see you now.
Well, you know, shut up.
Oh, boy.
What happened there? Talk to us. You were closing in. You had good speed. You were fighting for second. You were fighting for the lead. And then, well, you finished about a second off the leader at the checkered flag.
Yeah, I burnt up my stuff just a little bit. Coming through the when I started 6th there, and after the first caution, I kind of ran my stuff a little hot, trying to make sure I got into a good situation to where I can run down the leader. And I knew that if I can clear Brandon as quick as possible and I could save my stuff, I can probably match Tim. And I think I just was a bit too aggressive getting around Brandon, getting to Tim. And when I tried to back off a little bit, make sure I knew what I had burnt up everything that I thought I had. So there was no catching Tim after that. So he ran a flawless race. He ran a great race. I was hoping I'd see him at least smack the wall once coming out of a corner, and he was able to keep his car straight, keep it clean. So he ran a flawless race. He ran a great race. It just ran out just a little bit too soon.
Well, it does tend to happen that way sometimes. That's just short track racing for you. You got to make sure you can manage that right front and that right rear on some occasions.
It's just short track racing.
Oh, come on.
All right, Mr. Denny Hamlin over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, You and Denny do have something in common. You can't seem to put it together at the end of the season.
Oh!
But
Oh, no.
in any case, though,
He was down. You didn't have to keep kicking, Zach. I think I'll take it from here. I got to step in. I feel like I have to be a ref here in a WWE fight. This is, wow. But Zach Lindgren, I will say, a big thank you. I think from all of us behind the mics and behind the series for joining us this season. I know you have a lot going on. I know that team on your hood has a lot going on. They probably would have wanted you to go run other things, but it is so appreciated for you to come out here, race with all your friends, and join us here in the DLine Racing League. It seriously is appreciated. And that goes for everybody in the series, but especially you, because I know we had to kind of coerce you a little bit at first, maybe with some rent incentives possibly, but it seriously is appreciated to have you here on Tuesday evenings in the DLine Racing League, back on Pitstop TV, where you can't ask for 4 fresh Desert Eagles. Yeah. I see, twice in one night.
Yeah.
are you sure there weren't any other incentives, Andrew? I'm sure there's a few other things that this man would love. and there's, I mean, anything.
You know what? Hey, I was at the dollar store earlier, and I did see some unicorn Kraft mac and cheese.
There you go. There you go, Andrew.
See, and I would have appreciated that because it's mac and cheese and it's unicorn. It would yum yum in my tum tum, brother.
Oh, okay. That's where we're cutting them off. We're cutting them off right there.
I do appreciate y'all.
I think we have another driver to dial up.
Oh,
well,
no.
that's fair. But no, I do appreciate y'all getting me in here. I think y'all might know, but this is going to be the last race of the season for me. I think next week is the All-Star race, but I will not be there for that. I have other duties and other plans. I appreciate Elite for letting me come down here and, like you said, letting these guys let me run with them for a little while. You broadcasting it, very much appreciate. Love going back and watching the broadcast afterwards. I try to make that a habit either after the race or even at work. So, when I'm not paying attention or not doing anything at work.
Oh.
See, I got you, brother. But no, I really do appreciate everybody that that's in here. A bunch of clean racers, a bunch of fast guys in here. So I really do appreciate it.
Once again,
Swing by, bug you sometime at HMS, make you clean my helmet or something like that.
I'll clean your helmet. I'll clean your helmet just so you can go out and run 10th.
all right. That's where we're cutting off.
At least I can consistently run 10th instead of constantly finishing 2nd.
That's where we're going to go on to the drivers that ran for a championship this season. Let's bring in Timothy George. We don't have official word just yet on who is the champion, but I think we'll get a great idea by talking to Tim George exactly how things are working out. And Tim, let's start off with the positives. Big time race win here to close things out. 50 laps led straight through green flag conditions. And I think one restart. Yeah, one restart there that you had to defend over. Really, really solid race for you.
Thanks, man. That was a difficult one. 50 straight laps on those tires. They were not happy at the end of that.
And how do you manage tires at a place like IRP like this? So high speed compared to a lot of the tracks we visited this season. And there was definitely, I think, an extra 3 or 4 different ways you could run the corner compared to a lot of tracks we went to this season. You could try and hook the seam. You can try and stay up on the wall. What were you doing to try and save those tires?
So once I got out front and I noticed that I was starting to build a little bit of a gap behind me, I started rolling off the gas a little bit early and then just waiting to get back to power and just trying not to scrub them as much mid-corner, trying to run a little bit higher than I normally would if I was trying to push to stay ahead of somebody, just to try to save that right front just a little bit in case, I think it was Lindy got a run about midway through the race, just trying to save a little bit so I had something to battle him with there at the end.
And of course, a lot of points still went the way of the 48 car. I think he's going to hang on to the championship just. We don't have official word yet on points.
Actually, Andrew, I'm sorry to butt in, but David just texted me on the official points.
Well, we get a copy of those. Are they in the iRacing League? Hang on, I'm gonna see if we can pull this up real quick. Because I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. Monkey no see, monkey no do in this case, but we'll go over and check out the league page on iRacing, see if they've been uploaded. Could this be a big reveal moment, or do we confirm you as second place? No.
From what David said, it is a tie.
Is your name Tony Stewart or Carl Edwards?
I wish I could be as talented as either one of those two fellas.
You might as well be Carl Edwards tonight, though.
Yeah, I do think the several race wins, and you know what? You gave it a great shot this evening. I think this is race win 4 for you.
I believe it is, yeah.
At least by the way we counted. There's 2 different ways of counting. The iRacing counting, this is race win 3. Our way of counting, with including race 1s, this is win 4. Regardless, it's just shy of Zach Shucker. How much more painful, how much more salt is being rubbed in the wound currently, knowing that it was a tie, and 1 more point at any point in this season would have gotten you the championship?
I mean, I'm just happy to have finished all the races this year. I just came into it looking to race with my friends, and coming out second in points, I believe it is, with the count back. I'm speechless. If you asked me at the beginning of the season if that was how I would have thought this would have turned out, I would have told you were crazy. There's no way.
How much more important did that make 5 flags from a couple of weeks ago where there was contact?
You know, I think that definitely helped a little bit, but again, that was not intentional, and yeah.
Next question, and I think this is the final one where I'm going to rub salt in. Is there any one race that you would go back and change anything that you did? Any one race that you would have practiced, maybe an extra 10 laps, 20 laps, try to do something different at the end, take a chance you wouldn't have otherwise taken?
If we had to go, I had to go back and do any race different, I think I would have go back to Mid-Ohio instead of checking up for that wreck where I got dumped from behind. I would have just driven through it to capitalize on track position.
That just might be it. That's well, I guess it's another way you can make fun of that 85 car. But Tim, no matter what the points say, congratulations. You were one of the 2 strongest drivers in this series all season long. It could have gone either way between the 48 and 00, and apparently it went both ways. As unofficially, we'll say you're co-champion. Officially, I think loser of the tiebreaker. Congratulations once again, Tim. Victory lane suits you well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
It's a tough one to mull over, but certainly a great night at the office for the 00 car. Another race win for him, but Zach, I gave you the honor after race 1 of talking to another Zach on the racetrack, and to bring in our champion, I'll let you bring in this Zach as well. Zach Shucker, your very first ever DLine Racing League, brought to you by Elevate Performance champion.
Yeah, one way to make it go out with a bang, I'll tell you what, going in on a tiebreaker. Zach Shucker, you did a great job tonight. You were able to put yourself in contention, and, well, you almost lost it there. If you wouldn't have gotten past Brandon Webb and Tyler Langenberg, you might be singing a different song right now. So kind of tell us what the emotions are now as being the first champion of the DLine Racing League.
It's nice. I mean, honestly, yeah, we're tracking points and everything, but this is for fun. Like, I watched guys that haven't even run iRacing or haven't run it in 10 years come out and buy a sim rig and start running and vastly improve from week 1 to now, and that to me is more meaningful than winning a championship for fun. You know, like it's great to know that I managed to make it happen all season. Tim was quick, Brandon was quick early in the season, David was very consistent, which kept him there, and Sean Santa, he would have been up there if he could have made more races, but life gets in the way. So we all enjoyed it, and that was the biggest part of doing this.
Well, you put on a great show for everybody tonight, and you were able to put on one heck of a season, only getting the tiebreaker based off of wins. Now, iRacing, like Andrew said, only counted the official race wins, not the heat races, which would technically qualify as race number 1. You had 4 compared to Tim George getting his 3rd tonight. So, Andrew asked this question to Tim. I'm going to ask it to you. If there's any race really that you had to go back and change that might have, say, expanded your points lead or maybe made it a detriment, which race do you think you'd have to go back and change?
There would be 2 of them that stand out to me. South Boston, that was a rough one. So I made a mistake early, got into Sean, turned him around, went to the back, and it was too hard to pass and get up through the field to get back where I should have been, I thought. And then Martinsville, because I should have had the big bonus points for a 0x, and I made a mistake, and that right there would have been a 30-point swing in itself at the end of the season. So that one would really have been the big one. Regardless of the fact that I won it, I should have just ran a cleaner race.
Well, you're still singing the same song you sung going into tonight, being the points leader, and you are walking out of here as a champion. Congratulations to you tonight.
Thank you, guys, and it was fun as always. I had fun waiting on Brandon and Tyler to use their stuff up. Had to try to pull a strategy there because I had a bad start, and it worked out, so I'm not going to complain about that one.
Absolutely nothing to complain about walking out of here as a champion. And Andrew, I think you'll say the same thing. This has been a great season. I think he put on an outstanding performance tonight.
Absolutely, and Zach, it's good to see that Blue 48 do some burnouts at your home track, your home track this evening at IRP. I know it didn't go quite well, quite the way you wanted it to for the checkered flag, but hey, the championship is the biggest thing that matters this season, and congratulations to you, and a full season, full 12 weeks of dedication, commitment, and being the best driver in the series, I think, over the course of these 12 weeks, certainly, far and away, the best driver in the series. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, guys, and looking forward to Season 2 whenever that comes up.
Absolutely. Hey, we have an all-star race next week, though, to get through first. Nashville, going to be a whole boatload of fun.
Yeah, that one, technically in distance, Nashville and IRP are pretty much identical to my home track time-wise, so both of them technically on the schedule would be home track, and I'm really looking forward to that one because that's not a fixed setup race. That will be the fun part to that one.
There you go. Open setups next week at Nashville. A lot more to come about that one next week, but congratulations once again to Zach Shucker. Excuse me, there was one more I had to come on out, but Zach Murtis, looking back on the whole season, a lot of great races. At any point in time, one small kick to a rock, and the whole thing changes. A whole different champion, potentially. A tie in the standings, when it all comes down to it. Unbelievable.
Unfortunately, I wasn't here for maybe half the season running the summer shootout over at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I can't say at least I was here for the first 4 races. I was here for the back 3. It's just such an amazing group to see these guys come out here and run with each other and just have fun and be so cordial with each other on most occasions. I know they had a few run-ins with a few drivers with each other, just having a few altercations, but I mean, hey, it happens. It's gonna happen every now and again, but these guys put on a great show. They put on some amazing races, and I'm looking forward to the All-Star race next week. Hopefully, excuse me, now you got me coughing there, Andrew. Hopefully I'll get to run with these guys again pretty soon, and but I do enjoy my time here in the booth with you, Andrew. It's been a great season.
It really has been a great time here on Tuesday evenings, and we're not done just yet. Next week, we go racing at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, but first, we've got these races on the docket. Next up, tomorrow evening, we go to Pocono Raceway for the UFL Elite Series. I guess that would be your original home track there, Zach. Going to be a lot of fun up in the Pocono Mountains at 9 Eastern tomorrow night on August 23rd. Then Sunday, we head out to Daytona International Speedway with the Shake and Bake Racing Butt Kicker Cup Series in their final race before kicking off their own playoffs as they mirror the NASCAR schedule. Monday evening, though, it's out to Five Flags, so staying down in Florida for Elite Performance Industries Short Track Mondays, crowning a champion in Cars Late Model Stock Tour competition next week. Not necessarily in that broadcast, with how close point standings are between Ryan Kuhn and Justin Brooks, but at least that week there is going to be a whole lot happening in that championship, and you've got to tune in Monday to get an idea of the whole picture, or you can go back and watch last night's broadcast from Hickory to get an idea, but you should really watch both, if anything. And Zach, a lot of places to watch and keep up and see that broadcast next Tuesday as the Elevated Performance DLine Racing League takes on Nashville in their all-star race.
Absolutely, and you say Pocono, just a bit of a home track for me. I did grow up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half away, hour and 45 minutes from Pocono. They got the Little League World Series going on there right now. So it'll be nice to see how things go for Pocono and how the UFL takes it on. I'm excited hopefully get back on track with them soon. And for watching all these broadcasts on Pitstop TV, there's so many great places to watch us: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.com, Kick.com, one of the newest platforms for Pitstop TV. And then you can also find us on Twitch. We don't stream there live right now, but I do believe we post our broadcast back on there after the fact. So make sure you follow us along anywhere you can. So much great racing going on. I'm really, really excited to see how things turn out for Elite Performance Industries and the Short Track Mondays, because that points battle is still very, very close, Andrew.
That it is. Once again, Zach, thanks for being here this evening. It has been a pleasure as always. And a big shout out to our partners here, of course, Elevated Performance behind the series here with the DLine Racing League. It has been a ton of fun this season. We're not done just yet. One more race to go. A big shout out to our partners as well here at Pitstop TV, Whiplash Media, SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business. That'll wrap things up. That is a wrap on the season. A shout out as well to In Audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com helping these broadcasts happen. We will see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow night is the UFL Elite Series taking on Pocono Raceway, race number 4. Be there.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pitstop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.